Yeah. Okay, I think that's sufficient in that hadith. So, okay. In relation to the Nahwu, so now we did the mansubat. Right? We did all the mansubat from my notes. Then we did the tawabi' from Allah Ta'ala's notes. The only one of the tawabi' we didn't do from Allah Ta'ala's notes is the sifa. The sifa. But the reason I didn't do the sifa is because there isn't much more to it there than what we already know. And what's that? If you have a mawsuf, if you have a sifa, it must match the mawsuf in gender. The same what we learned in first year, right? The only exception to that is what? The plural of an inanimate object. Then we treat it like a singular feminine word, right? But it must still agree in number. It must still agree in definiteness and encasing. In number, we'll treat it as singular. In gender, we'll treat it as feminine. But it must still agree in hal, and it must still agree in definiteness. Right? That's mawsuf sifa. The exact same thing we would have learned in first year. And I don't think we want to add much more detail to that over here. How many weeks do we have till the end of the year? 6. Excuse me? Okay. Anyways, something like that, right? What remains actually is that we haven't done the marfu'at with everybody. Everybody in the class, who hasn't done the marfu'at? Can I see a show of hands? The things in Araf. So we did all the things in Nasb together. We did all the things in the Tawabi' together. In Jar, we said it's just the Harful Jar Ism Majroor. That's like, there's nothing for me to add over there. Really. And in terms of, and Mudaf, we also know that, right? I just did mention to you about Mudaf, that normally it shows position, but sometimes it's just there to qualify something. But we didn't do the marfu'at. So I want to see by show of hands, who wasn't in the class last year when we did the marfu'at? Okay, another one, 2. Excuse me? Online as well. Just show of hands, who didn't do. So we did mubtada, khabar, fa'il, naibul fa'il, ismu kana, khabaru inna. And by extension, we did the other parts of inna and kana there as well. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to just run through that again. Next year, inshallah, we're going to have a slightly different system at Mizan. I think it might not affect this class so much, but we're going to have more modular things. We'll see. So I wanted to just run through that. What we did when we discussed those things is that we didn't have the exact same discussion that we had in first year. So you know what the mubtada is and the khabar is, we know all of those things. What we did is we just added a bit of detail to each of those discussions. So what are the different forms that a mubtada can take? You get a normal mubtada, you get a delayed mubtada. What are the different forms a fa'il can take, for example, or the different fa'il, now to find the fa'il. What are the different forms a khabar can take? Sometimes the khabar is evident in a sentence, sometimes it's not. It's comprised of more than one word. If it's comprised of more than one word, is the khabar, is there a word in the raf? No, there's no word in the raf. So we can just look at that. But maybe I think we'll start with that next week. And then we'll start with that next week, inshallah. But I'm not gonna, okay. What I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna give you an overview of it now. Yes, so now I'm not going to do that. So now this is just a quick coverage of some of the concepts. So firstly, I mean, this is a grammar book 2 that we're working on. So firstly, we start off by discussing what is Nahwu, but we all know that already, right? It's we're just looking at how the word endings basically and how they change and how words relate to each other. That's what we study now. Then we categorize it into the different hands of nasb, jar, and the tawabi', the followers. So now I'm saying in this year we looked at nasb, jar, and the tawabi', but we haven't looked at raf in this year. So what are the things that we look at there? The fa'il, naibul fa'il, مبتدا خبر اسم كان وأخواتها and خبر إن وأخواتها. Those 6 things. So what we did over here is, you know what all of them are already. We just added a bit of detail to each of them. So what I think I'll do each week is maybe just run through each one of them. So let's just see quickly. The first lesson is of the fa'il. And in terms of the fa'il, there wasn't really anything much that was added here. The only thing that we added here is to point out that the fa'il can be mabni. So when we were in first year, we learned about the fa'il, right? What did we say about the fa'il? There were a number of things we learned about the fa'il. Firstly, we learned that the fa'il is always in halatul raf, right? Then we learned that the fa'il, firstly we learned that the fa'il is in halatul raf. What else did we learn about the fa'il? We learned how to locate the fa'il. And that was a combination of knowing your sarf and knowing your nahwu. Right? Why? Because we said the fa'il can, what's the process of finding the fa'il? Either you look at the end, and that's all the stuff that you learn from your sarf skill. If it's not at the end, then it will be on the left. If it's not on the left, then it will be inside. Which verbs have something inside? Fa'ala and fa'alat. That's on the past tense scale. And on the present tense scale, yaf'alu, taf'alu, af'alu, and naf'alu. Good. Af'alu and naf'alu. Because there's nothing at the end, right? If it's not at the end, then it's inside. So even though you may think, hey, but af'alu is I. Yes, it is I. But in terms of the technical understanding of it, the fa'il is inside. The hamza at the beginning tells you that it is I. Or the noon at the beginning tells you that it is we. Right. Which one? Nasarul walada ar-rajulu. That is definitely not correct. It's supposed to be Nasara. Nasara al-walada ar-rajulu. To the left. Going to the left, does it have to be right next to it on the left? No, just somewhere on the left. Right. What if I say huwa kataba, or let's say Muhammadun kataba risalatan. Who's the fa'il? Muhammadun kataba risalatan. Is it Muhammad? Remember, in. It's either at the end. There's nothing at the end of kataba. Or it's to the left. There's nothing to the left. So it must be inside. So it's inside, but inside, what's inside kataba? Huwa. The huwa is a dhamir, and it refers to Muhammad. We never, in terms of a technical understanding, we never say the fa'il is on the right. In, left, inside. When we say inside, it will refer to something that came before. No. It will be, because is it a verbal sentence even? Muhammadun kataba risalatan. No, it's a nominal sentence now. So Muhammadin will be the mubtada. And then kataba risalatan will be the khabar. Right? But that we'll learn when we look at the khabar again. Do you understand that? So it's just the rehashing of what we learned in first year. Maybe focusing on a few specific things. Fa'il is always in araf. So tell me, that dhamir that's hidden inside the verb, huwa, what hal is that dhamir in araf? So even though it's hidden, it still has a hal. And what hal is it? The fa'il is always in araf. So I mean that's principle we did last already. Fa'il is in araf, and how to find it? Ili. The in to the left or inside. And then also the fa'il, just to point out that the fa'il only has one fa'il. So once you found the fa'il, you don't have to continue looking for another fa'il. What did I say? جاء محمد وزيد. Now remember you learned the tawabi also, right? جاء محمد وزيد. Who's the fa'il? جاء محمد. First you look at the end of جاء, nothing at the end. Then look to the left. What's on the left? محمد. So that's my fa'il. So what's the rule? You stop looking now. But now what about وزيد? Wow is what? Wawul atf. So Zaid, I'm going to say is ma'atuf. It's ma'atuf. It's the conjunct. It is added to in the list to Muhammad. We don't call it the fa'il. I call it the ma'atuf. You follow? So there will only be one fa'il. Yeah. And then the last point that we have these, which is something that we took for granted, but yeah, we just stated it, that the fa'il can also be in, it can also be mabni. قال الذين أوتوا العلم. قال الذين أوتوا العلم. Who's the fa'il? قال. First you look at the end. Anything at the end? No. Then you look to the left. What's on the left? الذين. Is that mafa'il? Remember what kind of word is الذين? It's a mabni word. It doesn't change. So it doesn't show its hal. But I know that this can be mafa'il. And it is mafa'il. Also I know it's an ismul mawsul. And usually when you have a fa'il that's mabni like that, it usually will be an ismul mawsul. Not always, but oftentimes it will be a ismul mawsul. And the ismul mawsul has something after it that qualifies it. So that whole sentence after it, utul ilma, that's just the to give more information about alladhina. Right? But alladhina is man fa'il. So it can be mabni as well. And that's basically all that's over there. Okay, and then the rest is just the exercise. So this exercise we will just send you to do for homework, and then I'll send you the answers as well, right? Afterwards next week. So we're not going to go through all of those in the class, but just to recap, there were like a number of points that we learned. They're summarized on top. Fa'il is always in the Raf. You know how to find the fa'il with ili. It's never on the right, and it can be mabni. That's about it. We'll give you some examples, and then next week we'll look at naibul fa'il, inshallah. But for now, we move on to our surah again.